All right, everyone. If this is going well, then welcome to another Relate Well with Dr. Rick Marks, and it's good to see everyone. I want to move this over here for the Instagram folks. You'll have to see me this way. So forgive me about that. And so I can get that out of my face. I just noticed it was messing up right here. So I'm learning. I got my little studio here, and you can move this right there. And so, anyways, I'm trying to make things a little better for everybody, myself included. So, anyways, got my new sign up there above me, so you can look right there. We relate well with Dr. Rick Marks, and a friend of mine in Houston, wonderful counselor and friend, and does intensives and good man. He made that for me. He's a woodworker. He made that for me with our corporate colors, and it was pretty cool to see that. So I finally got it hung up. He sent it to me, and I got the Relate Well sign hung up there. And so on those on Instagram, I got to move it this way a little bit so you can see it. So there was a new sign that was given to me by a dear friend in Houston, therapist friend. And so, anyways, I want to come on and say a few things. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. And getting information out there to you, and hopefully to encourage and inspire you to really help you live the best life ever. And most importantly, the most healthiest, loving, mature relationships ever. We as humans were created to be relational beings. And we are relational and emotional in our essence. You can deny your emotions all you want, but the only way you can get rid of your emotions, we'd have to get rid of the limbic brain, which is your emotional part of your brain, and everyone has one. So whether you touch your emotions or not, it's a different conversation, but we all have emotions. Some just don't get in touch with them like others do. I'm more the emotional person in the family. My wife is more of the non-emotional one. Doesn't mean she doesn't have emotions, but I'm much more freer in expressing them, and she's more reserved in it. It's been a good balance for the two of us. I've become a little more in control of mine over these 38 years of marriage, and she's allowed to express hers a little more. It's a great thing about marriage and relationships, is that you build off each other's strengths, and you encourage each other's in our challenges and our weaknesses. We all have them. Having them is not good or bad; just means we're human, and that's the great thing about relationships. You see, is that we can actually learn to be okay with not being okay. Now, this won't be a long one today. I want to get on. I'm trying some new things and some different things, and playing around with my just how I'm doing things here. I don't have a way to right now to put the Instagram thing right behind me. I wish I could find it, but I'm looking for it. So I kind of have to look back and forth, and if y'all would just kind of bear with me, I would appreciate it. So I tend to look at the camera right here in front of me, and then the Instagram one's kind of right here. So I'll be looking back and forth just for a little bit. Now, I'm going to talk just briefly about the 4 questions we all need answered in the positive, so that we can have a life of really a healthy, mature life, a life where we thrive, all right? A life that leads us to maturity, a life that allows us to live in healthy, intimate connections with God and self and others. Okay. And so these 4 questions must be answered early in life, in my personal opinion. And when they are answered in the positive early in life, these people tend to thrive as a person. They tend to be great achievers. These people tend to be very mature. These people tend to thrive on all social indicators. The lack of having these 4 questions answered in the positive early in life, folks, you cannot thrive on a lot of these social indicators. People who don't have these questions answered tend to struggle with addictions, with relationships, behavioral problems. They may struggle in work. They may struggle in social settings. They may tend to be controlling or too dependent. They may be too emotional or non emotional. And so we're going to talk about these four. And I hope, in a way, if you're listening in, that maybe you'll write them down and then ask yourself this question as we go through each one. Was that question answered for me? And do I believe that about myself? So let's start with the first one. First question we all need to answer early in life to thrive is, do I have value? Do I have value? You see, every one of us needs to know that we have value, that we are valued, that we we're worth something to somebody. We're worth something to someone. That when people say you have value to me, and not only do you have value to me, but you are valued. That's approval. That's acceptance. We all need to know that we have value. How do you know that? How do you know whether you're valued or not? Simple. It's the way people talk to you, their tone, how they look at you. You know, eyes are the window to the soul. Intimacy is built through the eyes. Intimacy is built through the eyes. Someone's looking at you harshly all the time. All right? Scowl. Facial features show anger, disgust, shame, or regret. Everything you do in your face is sending a message to another person. It lets them know whether they have value or not. It lets them know whether they're valued to you as a parent. You see, these questions need to be answered early in life, and it's our parents who are to give us these answers in a positive way. We say to children, you have value. Because when people feel they have value, they're secure. They're at peace with who they are and their identity. That they're not trying to go around looking to feel valued or be valued. They already know they are. A lot of people go and end up in unhealthy relationships. They make really poor decisions in relationships, or they want to overachieve, and they want that Bentley or that certain kind of car or a certain kind of person on their arm. And because if I have all these things, the right kind of clothes, then I feel valued. I found that you could have all those things and still not believe you're valued. A lot of people pursue possessions and serial relationships in order to feel valued all the time. Why? You're not at rest within yourself. You're not at peace with your own sense of who you are. By the way, that was me. The way I was raised, and when I went into my adult life, I never believed I had value. I never believed I was valued. Because the way I was treated, particularly by my stepmother, constant criticism. Why can't you be like this? Why be everybody else? You're not going to amount to anything. It was constant. I didn't know I had value. She was non-nurturing, and so was my dad in a lot of ways. A lot of ways, my dad was more nurturing than she was. My dad was more tender than she was. But he had his own brokenness as well. And so I went into my adult life never really believing that I had value, that I myself was acceptable, that I was already approved. So what did I do? I became an overachiever. Why do you think I have a PhD, 2 master's degrees, a BA, clinical fellow with the AAMFT, ordained minister, REV, CIA, UFO, EIEIO. You see, you got a lot of letters behind my name, and I'm proud of those letters. I earned those. You see, 4.0 grade point average for my graduate degrees. But folks, I'm willing to admit part of that was because I didn't feel that I was acceptable, that I was approved, that I had value. And so I sought value in becoming and accomplishing, doing over and over and over. And here's what I found out. The more that I achieved and achieved and achieved, it never really never really worked. It never satisfied that need to feel valued. And then I get married to Luella, not knowing that I don't believe I have value. And then things would happen in the marriage. And because I believed I didn't have value and she would do something, I interpreted, see, I don't have value to you either. You see, my pain around the belief that I didn't have value, because that was the message I picked up as a kid, affected my relationships with others. We all need to feel valued. The second question we all need to answer is, do I matter? Do I matter to you? You see, if someone matters to you, you pay them attention. If someone matters to you, you listen to them. If someone matters to you, you respect them. If someone matters to you, you encourage them. If someone matters to you, you support them. If someone matters to you, you get the message. I never believed that I mattered. I can't tell you the number of times over the years of my life when I was hurting inside because maybe something happened at school, because I was the kid that was always picked on. You know, I was picked on at home in a sense, primarily from my stepmother. I never believed that I mattered. I never really believed that I mattered. And because I didn't believe that I mattered, I would do silly things to get people to notice me. Because if I would do silly things and people would notice me, then it meant that I mattered to them. They noticed me. They did things for me. They thought of me. We all need to know that we matter. And when you don't believe that you matter, you're going to go do things and live in such a way to make yourself believe that you matter. And that's why I was manipulative and I didn't get my way, because if I mattered, Lua would hold my hand, the need for affection. But she didn't hold my hand, which is really just an expression of the biological need for affection. And so because she didn't hold my hand, it meant to me that I didn't matter. I had a cop an attitude for 2 or 3 hours. Punish her with silence. I'm not proud of any of this, by the way, folks, but it is what I did. It is what I did, because emotionally I was still a child. You see, whenever you don't believe you matter, you start to live in such a way and behave in such a way so you can believe that you matter. And when you feel valued and when you feel that you matter, your heart's at rest, folks. You actually live in peace, serenity. When you believe that you have value and that you matter, that means you have a strong meaning for your life, that you mean something. And we all are in a search for meaning, or the search for meaning, the domain of meaning that's in all humans. We all have that belief that we have meaning. And when I believe that I have meaning, that I have value, that I have worth, that's meaning. I don't go around acting in foolish ways. I don't go around doing stupid stuff like getting drunk or doing drugs or crazy addictive behaviors. Why? People who lack meaning do those things. Because that's a broken soul who doesn't believe that they're good enough, doesn't believe that they matter, doesn't believe they have value. The third question we all need answered is, am I lovable? And slash, am I loved? Kind of a two-part. Am I loved and am I lovable? Am I loved and am I lovable? I can believe that I'm loved by someone, but it doesn't mean I necessarily believe that I'm lovable. They're not the same, folks. Let's be honest about that. You can believe you're loved, but don't believe that you're lovable. I never believed I was lovable. I was always taught that I didn't matter, that I had no value. Well, if I didn't matter, I had no value, then that means you're not lovable. Because we're all looking for that sense that not just only am I loved, but I'm lovable. That there is something about me that is lovable. You see, We all need to know that we're all looking for it, even in dysfunctional ways. You know, the old song, looking for love in all the wrong places. You're looking for love, yes, but in a sense, you're also looking to know that you're lovable. You see, being loved is from someone else, but lovable is about who you are. It's about who you are. Kids want to know that they're lovable, not just loved. They need to know both. When you're lovable, when you're loved, people treat you in a healthy way. It's the way it's supposed to be. But someone can treat you who loves someone can treat you in a we say someone can love you but not treat you in unloving ways. Did you get that? And then your question, is it really love? Which is a very valid question at that point, isn't it? Love in our world, we say and relate well, love operates with goodwill, respect, humility, and empathy. We like to operationalize in our world the word love. And we believe that love always operates with goodwill, respect, humility, and empathy. And when you treat people with goodwill, respect, humility, and empathy, we call them the four protectors of a relationship, the four protectors of an us. We teach this in the corporate world as well. That whenever you live a life of goodwill, respect, humility, and empathy, then you are actually loving people. You know, because the word love gets used so many different ways today. Example, I love my wife, I love my children, I love the U.S. military, and I love mint chocolate chip ice cream. You hear the misuse of that word? You love mint chocolate chip ice cream and your wife? You bet, I do. But we believe that you can love someone but be unloving in your actions. And when you are unloving in your actions, people have the right to question whether you love them or not. But we like to operationalize the word love this way. You know for a fact that when you treat people with goodwill and respect, you are being loving. Why? Because love never treats people with ill will and disrespect. Love is always caring. That's why we use the word empathy. You can step into someone else's world and empathize / care with how they think and feel. That doesn't mean you agree, but you can't have empathy and respect and goodwill without humility. Pride will kill it all off. We need to know that we're loved, but we also need to know that we're lovable, that there's something about me that you place on me. There's something about you that I place on you that says you're not just loved, you're lovable. When someone is lovable, it means they want you. When you're lovable, they're drawn to you. Why? It's like a teddy bear. Teddy bears are lovable and huggable. Do you treat your kids that way? Do you treat your spouse that way? Do they know not just their love, but they're lovable? That you see something in them that you just go, I love this part of you. This part of you is so lovable. We all need to know that we have value, that we matter, and that we're loved and lovable. And the fourth question, do I have a purpose? Do I have a purpose? One of the needs of all humans is that they need to know, we all need to know, that we're not just on this earth to exist, that we're here for a reason, for a purpose. We have something to accomplish, something to give to humanity. It may not be in the Abe Lincoln ways or the Mother Teresa ways of the world. It might be to your family. It might be through your job. It might be to your neighbors. Hang on just a minute, folks. The light over here just went off. Hang on. All righty. Our main lights went off, and I had to go rectify that problem. So anyway, so let's get back to it. We all need to know that we are not on this earth just to exist, that we have a purpose here. That we are here to accomplish something. Do you know what your purpose is? See, I was taught that I would not measure up to much. I was taught that you won't do well. And I became an overachiever because I didn't believe I had value, that I had matter, that I was loved and lovable. and I didn't believe I have a purpose, but I was going to prove that I did. See, a lot of the stuff that I did in my early life was to try and answer those 4 questions, because they were never answered in the positive as a kid. And people who do not believe they have purpose tend to just exist. They'll medicate the pain of that with alcohol and drugs and live in unhealthy ways, live in a way that's just very dysfunctional. But when we believe we have meaning, that we have purpose, that we matter, and that we are loved and lovable, you will thrive. Your relationships will thrive. Your marriage will thrive. Your parenting will thrive. If you're a leader, you'll thrive as a leader. But when you treat people as a leader in a way that says you don't matter, you're here to serve me, really? Is that the message you really want to send to someone? That they don't matter? They're there to send, they're just an employee? And when you send the message, leader that's not loved and cared for, and they don't have value, their only value is that they're there to do something for you. Boy, how often do we disregard, demean the dignity of another human being? I've always said, you never treat a person in a way that disrespects their dignity. You know, there's some books written about dignity and leadership. Desmond Tutu wrote the 4 of these books. Read them both a while back. The author there says some of the same things I say. I just do it in a different way. But she's absolutely right. The greatest violations of the workplace are violations of dignity. The way we treat people. We treat them with ill will and disrespect and uncaring ways. Why? Because that's what pride will do. That's what pride will do. So what are the 4 questions we all need answered? Here they are. Do I have value? Yes, you do. Do I matter? Yes, you do. Are you loved and lovable? Yes, you are. And don't let that little voice in your head tell you anything otherwise, and don't listen to it. Don't agree with it. And lastly, do you have a purpose? Do I have a purpose? The answer is yes. You have to find that purpose. You have to find that purpose. You can find it by mentors or talking to people. What are your interests? What are the things that you're passionate about? You see, maybe your purpose is to serve others. I believe the greatest gift and the highest way of living your life is in service to other people, not in service to oneself. What would happen if we raised our children in such a way that we sent them the message they have value, that they matter, they have a purpose, and they are loved and lovable? I think of Ben Carson's mom. I think she was 14 when she had him. She couldn't even read, but she made him read. And even as a little 14-year-old teenage girl, think about that. She had a baby, and she raised that baby to be Dr. Ben Carson, one of the leading neurologists in the world. A good man, a man of faith, a man who knows he has value. He knows he has worth, that he was loved and lovable, and he had a purpose. And he's fulfilling that purpose to this day, even now. All because he had a mom who taught him and spoke those words over him all his life. Is it any wonder that growing up in the inner city, he didn't go into gangs? Why? Because people of value and worth, who believe they have purpose and meaning, and they're loved and lovable, don't go towards violence. They go towards the meaningful things in life, the powerful things in life, the moral things in life. They live a life beyond themselves. They live a life in such a way that they don't want to ever hurt or harm others. Why would they? Because people of value and worth and meaning don't harm people. Why? The moment I act that way or treat you a certain way, treat your spouse that way, you've just devalued yourself. Why would I devalue myself? By devaluing the dignity of others. Won't do it. So there they are. Number one, do I have value? Number two, do I matter? Number three, am I loved and lovable? And number four, do I have a purpose? They need to be answered, and you need to find a place to answer them. You might ask, well, Rick, you said you grew up without those answered, and you left home and joined the Navy, not believing you mattered, not believing you had value, not really sure that you were loved and lovable, and not really believing what your purpose was, or if you even had one. That's true. That is so true. You know what I found out? For me, the cross of Jesus Christ declares I have value. It declares that I matter. It doesn't just declare that I'm loved. It says I'm lovable. And the fact that he created me and put me here on this earth means I have a purpose. My goal was to find that purpose and go live it out. Maybe you can find it there too. This is Dr. Rick with another Relate Well with Dr. Rick Marks. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.